Welcome to a very special edition of This Week in Missouri Politics on our college tour here. I'm sure you recognize it, the University of Missouri, Faroe Field with Dr. Mun Choi. Dr. Choi, thank you so much for the hospitality.
My pleasure. Welcome.
The students are coming back, school's getting underway. Enrollment, tell me about enrollment.
Enrollment's going to be about 30,000 this year. We're really excited. And think about this. We are over 50% higher in our freshman enrollment compared to 8 years ago.
It's amazing.
So when I say Mizzou is back, Mizzou is back. We're excited.
You know, I think there's a lot of folks that call it the Mizzou miracle. We don't like to go tread over old times. When you came here, so many things were in disarray. I honestly think there was an element of the state had lost some of its pride in its flagship institution. You came in here, and enrollment is that barometer. The construction at this place, the banners, the football team matters. It just matters. This state, you've restored the pride this state has in our flagship university, whether you went to Mizzou or not.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, we focus on three key things: student success, research that makes an impact, and engaging with our citizens. And by focusing on those principles, we're able to bring back support for the university. You know, I always tell Missourians whenever I meet them, thank you. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for supporting us, because you are our most important benefactors. And we also have support from the governor. You know, the prior governor, Mike Person, was a very, very big supporter. And this new governor is just outstanding. Outstanding.
You're talking about two guys, though.
Yeah.
They were not Mizzou grads.
They're not.
You're talking about two guys that are common sense businessmen.
That's right.
I think one of the reasons, your personal relationship helped with Governor Parson and with Governor Keogh, but I think part of it is you produce a really fine product.
Oh, we do.
And I'm not sure everybody in your job's been able to walk into a governor's office that maybe didn't go to Mizzou and explain the value and be able to convince them that, yes, folks out working today, their tax dollars are very well spent here at Mizzou.
Absolutely. You know, each year, our university system receives about $500 million, which is an incredible amount of support from the state. But we create $6.5 billion in economic impact. So that is what? That is close to 13 to 1 in terms of return on investment.
Best deal in town.
We have to share with Missourians what the impact is, as well as our gratitude. And I think that combination worked.
Let's get back to enrollment.
Yeah.
You know, to me right now, you've got students now. I think every family would have been proud to send their child to the University of Missouri. There's an even greater sense of pride today. But you have students all over the Midwest and all over the country coming to Missouri.
That's right.
That 30,000, the footprint of that is huge.
It is huge. All 50 states. We have students coming from about 50 different countries, because we have world-class experts right here, whether it's in journalism, to food sciences, to physics. This is a place that people believe in which they can get a great education, high quality, but affordable education at this university. And we're a great value.
You know, talk to me about the issue we talk about all the time. It has been interesting to watch you become an evangelist for this university. I didn't know what a nuclear, I knew we had one. I didn't know what the nuclear reactor did.
Right.
Tell me where we are right now in replacing that nuclear reactor and how vital that is, and not just Mizzou, but to the state of Missouri and the world.
You know, with our nuclear research reactor, I like to say we're number one. And when I say that, other people will say, oh, you're number one among universities. No. We are number one in America compared to any other pharmaceutical firms, even the U.S. Department of Energy. We produce 460,000 doses of radioisotopes that are used for targeted radiotherapy to treat people with advanced stages of cancer, whether it's thyroid cancer or liver or prostate or pancreatic cancer. And that's the kind of impact that we have, because we operate our reactor 24/7, shipping our products not only all throughout the United States, but also all throughout the world.
One of the first things you told me about Mizzou was this reactor is going to end its life. It's going to have to be replaced.
Eventually.
I always thought the biggest public works project in Missouri was to redo I-70. The state has come together and are redoing I-70. Now the next biggest challenge for the state is to replace this reactor.
It is. It's not only a statewide need, but it's a national need. But think about this. The I-70 expansion is going to cost about $3 billion. Money well spent for economic development. We can build our reactor for $1 billion, but the type of economic impact that we can have, not only on R&D, but be the place where the first clinical trials can happen, manufacturing surrounding nuclear medicine, as well as distribution, because we are in the center of the United States. So we look at this not only as an investment in the University of Missouri, but also for economic development for this region.
I mean, if you go down to Webster County right now, they have a big telescope because that's where Dr. Hubble was from.
That's right.
Imagine the sense of pride in this state, whether you go from Rockport to Caruthersville,
Absolutely.
go to Pineville up to Clark County.
Absolutely.
It's not just cancer treatments that can be done here. You see the first real cures for cancer done right here in Missouri.
Absolutely. You know, thyroid cancer is has a very high prevalence among young adults. Using our treatment, we don't just treat, we cure thyroid cancer. Imagine that. That's the kind of impact that we have. That only came about because the state of Missouri made investments in our universities, especially at the flagship university, so that we can lead this type of research and manufacturing.
So walk me through, though, it's going to have to be replaced.
That's right.
I saw the state committed, but Senator Weber fought pretty hard
That's right.
to get the first $50 million. What is the time frame on how long we have to do this, and what is going to be the cost of this, and where's that money going to come from?
So we imagine that this project would take about 8 years. The total cost of the project is about $1.3 billion. Right now, we have enough in our coffers using our internal resources, the generous support from the state, as well as the federal government to do the planning and design study. We think that'll take about 2 years. At that point, we can approach the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to actually go for licensing. And for the next probably 4 to 6 years is when we're going to be generating new revenues and new contracts, as well as state and federal support so that we could build this. Now that timeline can be shortened if we can get the funding earlier, or if we can get the licensing to be completed in a shorter time frame.
Talk about some of the guys that are in charge of getting that, maybe the quarterbacks of getting that funding.
That's right.
Dr. Bob Onder, elected to Congress last November.
That's right.
I got to be honest with you.
Yes.
You could have told me he might not have taken this university as his top priority, and I might have believed you. I have been so impressed, and it engendered so much support in Central Missouri for Congressman Onder.
That's
He's
right.
been here. He knows these issues. I guarantee you Bob Onder knows the dollar figure it still needs to have to bring that reactor up. I've been so impressed by him.
Same here. He's been here so many times.
Yeah.
You know, he's a medical doctor, as you know, from WashU. But he believes in what we do because he's dealt with situations where cancer patients needed that support. And to know that that kind of innovation is coming out of his state in the district that he represents, he feels so much pride in it, and we appreciate him for it.
It's going to have to be the U.S. Senators, Holly and Schmidt. It's going to have to be Markov. It's going to be a team effort. Jason Smith, to get the kind of money to get this done, it's going to have some federal buy-in, right?
Absolutely. Congressman Alfred also has been incredibly supportive. Now, the two senators, we're working with them to develop even a larger program, working with our congressmen to be able to get that key investment that's going to kickstart this project. So we're talking about project costs from the federal government of about $100 million or more, but that'll show investors and our partners that the federal government is behind this.
When you walk into the Capitol, I mean, you rival Coach Drinkwitz. I mean, people want a picture with you. You know these people's names. You've put the time in to build these relationships. Give me a project you've done with the legislature that's benefited the whole state.
Well, the Next Gen Precision Health Building that is related to both cancer research, autism, and so many illnesses that Missourians face are being solved in that building. For that building, we not only received strong support from the state, very strong support, but also strong support from former Senator Roy Blunt. And that building was a building that was the largest in the history of our system at the time. And there were many that were asking us to stop the project because this happened during COVID. But we decided we needed to make this investment. Now we have 50 faculty members and their related research staff working in that building. And together, they have $250 million worth of research, advanced research that's going to lead to innovative treatments.
So it's an amazing legacy Roy Blunt has left this state.
No
this is just the latest part of it.
No question.
Let's talk about higher education. Give me your thoughts on, I mean, you're one of the success stories in higher education and what you've done here. Talk to me about the future of higher education as you see it.
You know, over the past decade, higher education's perception among the public has dropped to historic lows.
Don't you think that makes even what you've been able to do here even more impressive? At the time when you face the headwinds of, yes, I think that is fair. General higher ed is not thought of as well as it was 10 years ago. The University of Missouri is.
And you're right about that. When we ask Missourians, or when I travel around the country and ask people what they think about higher education, they'll give me reasons why they are upset. And many of the times they'll say, higher ed has lost touch with American values. Higher ed is known to indoctrinate students, and higher ed has really lost touch with the common taxpayers who have to come up with so much money to educate their children. And so as higher ed leaders, we have to take their concerns very seriously. We cannot discount their ideas by saying, well, they don't know how higher ed works. That's a very arrogant approach. Our approach has been a very pragmatic approach, listening to the parents, listening to the legislators, and making changes. And at our university, we believe that a student that comes to this university should have the freedom to think, freedom to learn, freedom to discover. That freedom is going to enable that student to explore so many different ideas so that they can become productive citizens that are thoughtful, that are engaged in civil discourse. And that's what we plan to do at this university going forward.
You think a big part of this, just from my opinion, is you're a very humble leader. You're an accomplished man, but you come off very humbly. And that is one thing I think look when you think of higher ed, humility is not something that pops to your mind.
Well, you know, I grew up not knowing what I wanted to be when I finished college. And for me to be in this position, position of great honor, position of influence to help educate the next generation of students, I feel so humbled and so honored. And really, in my mind, I want to give back as much as I can. So when I see students back on campus like we have this week, I'm so pleased. I spend time with them learning about what their aspirations are and knowing that if they put in the effort, this university, our faculty and staff are going to provide an excellent education for them.
Give me something you'd change about higher education.
Well, I can only talk about what we did at the University of Missouri. And I would say we are more accountable. We're more accountable at every level. So when we ask our faculty and staff to do certain things to be more efficient, focus on our mission, we live that every day. So when I think about making an investment in the university, I ask myself, will it advance student success? Will it advance research? Or will it advance engagement with Missourians? And if it doesn't meet those requirements, we don't make that investment. And so we try to find projects and investments that can meet all three. Those are the best types of projects that we can lead. So we're more accountable, we're more transparent, and at the same time, we're more innovative. We're doing more things now than ever before, even with less faculty at the university. At this university, back in 2015, we had 1,250 full-time tenure track faculty. We're down 200, and yet we've doubled research, we've increased enrollment, we've increased our retention and graduation rates and our placement rates. So we're able to do all of that with less people because we have people that are committed to our mission.
It is so fun to be here on the campus of the University of Missouri. That's a success story, something that's fun to talk about as a Missourian. We're going to be right back and talk about the projects going on here and everything else with the athletic director of the University of Missouri, the new women's basketball coach, and Coach Drinkwitz will be with us after this.
The St. Louis Carpenters Union has shaped our communities. Through trusted alliances, we deliver skilled professional craftspeople while our business partners provide the kind of quality jobs that keep our economy humming. It's a blueprint that has worked since 1882. Turning Missouri into a right-to-work state stalls progress, wipes out jobs, and kills momentum. Right to work is wrong for everyone. Let's keep Missouri moving forward. Visit carpdc.org to learn more.
You know, Missouri farmers have been doing what's best for their land for generations. After all, no one knows what it takes to feed and fuel a growing global population better than they do. So why are trial lawyers threatening Missouri farmers' best defense against weeds? Our farmers don't need to be controlled. They need to be supported. Keep glyphosate in our state. Show your support at TakeControlMissouri.com. Paid for by Modern Ag Alliance and support of Missouri farmers.
Missouri's childcare crisis is hurting our children, families, and even our economy. Currently, 78 Missouri counties are designated as childcare deserts, where the number of kids needing childcare exceeds the number of available options. Today, some Missouri families are spending more on childcare than housing, and Missouri's childcare shortage costs our economy $1.35 billion every year. Missouri families and businesses deserve better. Learn more at mochampionofchildren.com.
We have a severe weather alert to report here. The storms also bring the threat of damaging winds and large.
Here's the thing. When storms bear down, we step up.
Ready to get? You bet.
Our teams are always ready to keep your power strong. Ameren.com/poweron.
Welcome back. This week at Missouri Politics from the University of Missouri here in Columbia at Faurot Field with the athletic director. Thank you so much for joining us, Laird. Leach, appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having
Exciting
us.
place, construction going on.
There's a lot happening around here, that's for sure.
The new coach of the Lady Tigers basketball program, Coach Kelli Harper, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Missouri.
Thank you.
And the head coach of the University of Missouri Tigers, Eli Drinkwitz. Coach Drinkwitz, thanks for letting me out here on the field.
Yeah, appreciate it. Always enjoy talking politics. Look forward to chatting up about the new Attorney General.
Yeah, we got to make sure we break all that down and stuff. Tell me though, Mr. Laird, what an awesome project going on back here.
Yeah, it's incredible. It was one of the things when I first came here, the signal that sent that we are moving forward with a project of that magnitude, the investment in Mizzou football and athletics overall, it's awesome, and it is rocking along.
Faurot Field's always been a great place and something a lot of people are proud of. But the innovation here in the south end zone and now the north, it's really like the finishing project. Now Mizzou, you can bring anybody in the country to this stadium, and it's a top-notch facility now.
Yeah, we look like we belong in the SEC, and that's a big statement. It's a big push over the last several years. A lot of it has to do with belief in that guy that's sitting next to you and what he's doing with the program. We got a chance to keep it rolling and do something special.
There's been a terrific thing in the University of Missouri. So I don't think there's any question. 10 years ago, Mizzou wasn't at the top of the hill. It's almost been a twin dynamo group of you and Mun Choi promoting this college, winning football games. I'll tell you, you go anywhere in this state now, not just Central Missouri, and you see folks wearing Tigers.
Yeah.
The folks are proud of this college, and a lot of that is due to the resurgence you've had on the football field.
Well, I think we take our responsibility of being a window to the university and a window to this great state. Really, we know it's very important. And so anytime we get a chance to put a product on the field, we want those guys, we want the people of this state to be proud of it. We represent the 6 million people of this state. We represent this university. And, you know, our president and board is very committed to excellence in everything they do, whether you're talking about MUR and the nuclear research reactor, whether you're talking about being an AAU institution, or whether you're talking about football or athletics. We want to be the very best that we can be. And so, you know, this north end zone is a reflection of that. The Stevens Indoor is a reflection of that. And, you know, we're proud of the product that we're placing.
It is true. I mean, when you talk about really ambassadors of the state of Missouri, I'm not sure there's a bigger one than you. It's a role that's not just X's and O's.
Yeah.
You really are probably the biggest, most widely known ambassador for the state of Missouri.
Well, you know, I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid do a pretty good job too. But you know, they're for the Chiefs, so no, I get it. Yeah, you know, it's actually really fun, and I take that part of the job serious and understand that, you know, there's a lot of Chiefs and Royals and Cardinals, but there's only one Mizzou, and it's important on Saturdays that the fans have something to be proud of.
It's something that all 6 million Missourians have some level of buy-in
Exactly right.
to this, and I think now they're about as proud as they are of that buy-in as any time in my lifetime. Tell me about how important this is. I mean, I've came to Faurot Field my whole life. It's nicer, it's up to date, but closing that in is like, to me, the last big project to make this a world-class stadium.
Yeah, well, there's always new frontiers to fight, so let's not stop right there. But I do think that, you know, it's important to send a message that we want to be the best in everything we do, and this is going to be a stadium that everybody can be proud of and be excited that they're coming to watch a great game. They're going to be surrounded with great amenities, and it's going to have a home field advantage that rivals anywhere else in the country.
Coach Harper, you have a lot of options. Folks are pretty well read on you. You chose Mizzou. Why'd you choose to come here?
Honestly, partly the things that you've been talking about. You know, you can feel this university transitioning. You can feel the rise. Something I was really excited to be a part of. Obviously, the vision that Laird has for the athletic department was very enticing, but also it was just a great fit for me, personally, professionally, and a region I was very comfortable with. Obviously, a league that I'm very comfortable with, and I'm just really excited about this opportunity.
It does feel like there is a rise. This is like a physical view of the leveling up, but it does feel like Mizzou is a place that's on the front foot. It's aggressive.
Yeah, no question. That's when I first got here, I talked about the opportunity to join along at a place where they're climbing. Right, we're not to the top of the mountain, but we're climbing, and that has already been going here for a few years. And to be able to be part of that and try to keep pushing us up and get to a point where we are consistently competing for championships year in and year out, that it will have a huge impact on not just our university but statewide. You talk about 6 million people.
Yeah.
We have a chance, our coaches have a chance, and us to really impact the brand of this state, and that's something we, as Coach said, we take seriously.
And Laird was a linebacker, so he likes to play forward. He likes to move forward. Some of his best highlights are him blitzing. He's got one really good one sacking the quarterback when he was at K-State playing against Mizzou. So he doesn't like the backpedal. He doesn't like playing no zone defense.
It does feel that way. It's a good feeling. And I think it's not just folks in Columbia. I don't think it's just in Boone County, Central Missouri. I think it's something that people are proud of all over the state to feel that sense of moving forward.
Yeah, no question. And, it starts with leadership. You got a president and a board that are really committed to doing what it takes to get us to the next level, and they recognize our piece in that, which is really encouraging and not always common.
Let's talk about how this piece works together. It was a cool story I heard. If you talk to Dr. Choi, as we just did, or you talk to Dusty, seniors down in the Capitol, they're going to talk about the reactor. You took some folks on a tour of that reactor. It kind of shows everything works together, right?
Yeah, well, and that was really kind of the point is, we take the role of being that window, that front porch, or whatever you want to call it, to the university very seriously. And, for me, I just wanted our leaders, the people that are on the front line and very visible, to be able to talk firsthand about the impact that facility is making, the people there. It is truly saving lives at a rapid rate, and it has a chance to save more and more. We talk about changing lives, but it is really saving lives, and that's pretty awesome. Just to know that you're kind of on the edge of that, seeing it, you're part of that same brand, and this is a place that has something uniquely special that we can continue to invest in and continue to elevate, just like we are in athletics.
Coach Harper, it is interesting. Everything fits together. But I mean, honestly, when the athletic department's doing well, that makes it much easier to get that money from state policymakers. It just does.
Success breeds success. And you don't just succeed in one area. And I think when you have a common goal to achieve greatness and to achieve excellence across the board, whether it's with Murr or on the football field or on the basketball court, listen, I'm going to be his biggest fan this year. It matters. Them winning matters to us. And so us winning matters to the university. I think it's a big deal. Success breeds success.
Speaking of that, NIL has really changed things.
Yeah.
Changed how folks watch the game, and I'm sure it's changed your life in a great way. They're talking about a Scores Act in Congress to give a little bit of structure. What's the update on that, and how will that affect Mizzou?
Well, I think we're all looking for some national legislation that'll kind of put some guardrails in place for everybody involved, whether you're talking about the young men involved having a little bit more security within the agent world and what the regulations are going to be there so that they can be protected. When you're talking about millions of dollars being thrown around, there's always bad actors involved, and so we got to make sure that there's security there for these players to be protected. But there's also ways to kind of level the playing field, so it's not just about the richest teams or the richest universities always being, at the top. So I think it's really important. I think it'll give fans a little bit more security in what actually is taking place, and I think it's going to be important for us to maintain competitive balance. When you look at the history of scholarships going to people, it's first the GI Bill, and it's secondly athletic scholarships. And if we're not careful the way this is being tilted and pushed too far towards a business, we're going to lose scholarship opportunities for student athletes who need the opportunity, and probably not in major sports, but some of these secondary sports who people really need these opportunities. I grew up in an era where my parents weren't going to be able to pay for me to go to school. I had to earn a scholarship in order to go, and so I think it's important that we can put some guardrails in place so that we can maintain the Olympic sports, we can maintain some secondary sports, and we can provide education throughout the country, which is what college and universities' main job is.
You've had a guy trying to fill that gap in with state policy before they get national rules. That's Curtis Gregg. He used to play out here.
Yeah.
He's been carrying a lot of water for you all in the legislature.
Yeah, Curtis has done an excellent job helping us be on the forefront, from a statewide legislature and making sure that we are not at a disadvantage with anybody else in the SEC. And so he's been awesome in doing that. But now it's about getting national regulation. And so, have visited with Senator Schmidt and look forward to visiting with all the other congressmen, whether it's Congressman Smith or Congressman Bell or any other Congressman Graves, anybody else that we need to, because it really is going to need to be bipartisan for us to get something pushed across the goal line.
Well, it's kind of cool, at one time or another throughout the schedule, they'll all be here on this field at some point, right? It's a nice little calling card, a good time to talk to them about these things, because they'll all be here sometime this fall, right?
Yeah, it's one of the awesome things about college sports is it draws people together and gives people a chance to connect. And there's some business, some politics that can be done in that environment as well.
Coach Harper, you started talking about the Scores Act. How does that apply to your team?
Well, it does apply to us as well. Maybe not hardly at the level that football deals with it, but it has impacted our game tremendously. And I think we need some consistency, and that's where the regulations would really help. But it's very hard to exist and be successful in a space that changes at the drop of a hat. And so to me, I'm looking forward to some consistency and being able to forecast what it's going to be and be able to play by the rules. Because right now the rules just change so much, it makes things very difficult.
Coach, tell me how the season's going to go.
Well, if I had that, I'd be able to play in Vegas a little bit more. But, I think the reality of it is we have a really good football team that we've put together. They've really worked hard in the offseason. I think we've got a good football team. We've got a great home schedule. We're going to have an opportunity in all those games. Yeah. But, the ball bounces funny ways, so we'll see. I'm not going to be bold in predictions, but I will be.
Keep it going. I mean, you took a program that, frankly, when you came here, was struggling.
Yeah.
You built it up to the top of the top. But, boy, to me, it's sure hard. Unless you can go buy new players every year, it's got to be a lot of pressure and a lot of challenge to keep it going.
Yeah, but that's the fun part. You want to have high expectations. You want to build expectations within a community that they expect you to be good. We've been fortunate to have great NIL rules, been able to take advantage of the transfer portal, have had great investment through boosters and through the university in order to build and form a collective team that I think's talented enough to be on the field with a lot of these SEC opponents. And obviously we're going to have to play well under pressure. Got great, like I said, great home games, great rivalry game versus Kansas, great home SEC schedule. But really the biggest challenge is going to be making sure these fans show up, because they are the advantage for us. We're undefeated at Fro last year, and we really need that same energy and passion this year to get us over the top.
Coach Drinkwitz, thanks so much for having us. Coach Harper, I appreciate it. Laird, thank you for the hospitality. I want to thank everybody here at the University of Missouri for welcoming us in for our college tour here at Columbia. We will see you next week here on This Week in Missouri Politics.
This Week in Missouri Politics is brought to you by the Missouri Automobile Dealers Association, Ameren, Spire, Evergy, and the Missouri Association of Career Fire Protection Districts.